All right, we're gonna try this again. I need to check to see if this is even up here. And wow, it posted this video. Awesome. 4-minute video with laggy audio. Oops. Edit. Info. Private. We're just gonna delete this from our memories forever, hopefully. Unless this video also is shitty, in which case, goddamn it. Live streaming. Live now, 77 watching. Okay. All right, it works now. Thank God. All right, so I don't know if you guys heard my 2-minute spiel before with the audio apparently fucking up pretty hard, but I can remember what I was talking about. Yes, 20K subs, crazy. Definitely not a lot of channels get to this side, and I'm very appreciative to every single one of you who have subscribed to me, who leave comments, who do, you know, whatever it is that you do to support my channel. I'm really supportive, appreciative of that. But anyway, the purpose of this initial stream, at least early on, is to have you ask your questions, because I can't get to all the comments that are on my channel now. It's just, there's just too many of them. I'm too busy throughout the day. So if you have any questions or whatever, go ahead and comment it. I'm dual computering right now, so hopefully I can answer some of you guys' questions. No, I don't use Apple earphones. This is just regular. Well, maybe I do. Fuck if I know. For real. I'm using my computer because I try to plug my normal microphone into my computer to live stream, and unfortunately in my settings tabs it doesn't actually allow me to select that microphone so that you guys can actually hear me for whatever reason, and I don't have enough time to really like fix it or whatever, so I just use earphones or just straight up my computer's built-in microphone. Do you think Luffy will learn awakening during the fight against Big Mom's army? You know what? That's what a lot of people are thinking right now. It's just because in Whole Cake Island, it doesn't seem like there's a way to win, like straight up. Like you have a Yonko and Big Mom, all of her subordinates, which by themselves could probably beat Luffy, at least based on our understanding of Luffy's current powers, given that Luffy seemingly went all out against Cracker. And that battle took 11 hours. You got 2 more Sweet Commanders, plus all these other top tiers. So then, if you actually believe that Luffy will beat Big Mom, then he would need a power-up of some sort. And so that's when a lot of people throw in the idea that this will be the time that Luffy learns his awakening, or Gear 5th will be introduced or something like that. But I'm not on that train. But I mean, it's definitely possible. If Luffy were to beat Big Mom, in my mind, he would need some sort of drastic power-up in this arc, no doubt. But I don't believe that he's going to beat Big Mom in this arc. There's just so many little clues out there that Big Mom isn't really the kind of person that Luffy would need to defeat. Like if you go to like Crocodile or Arlong or NL or any of the other really big major enemies in the story, there was like clear benefit for beating them, no doubt. Like they are dangerous to the world. Even someone like Kaido has a plan to pretty much destroy the entire world. So there's like very clearly to me, Kaido is someone that needs to be defeated for the greater good of the world. And now I understand all characters in One Piece are not black and white. They're somewhere in the middle. But with Big Mom, I really don't see any benefit of beating her. Certainly, she has the potential to ravage countries, but in general, she protects a lot of countries with her name alone. And then like her dream is to protect all the races of the world, create a place for racism and discrimination. I mean, you can doubt the validity of that dream at this point in time because it isn't 100% confirmed, but I believe based on all the context clues, it is for the most part confirmed. And so if you beat her, then you in a sense, you destroy her dream, which I believe is like a good dream. You actually beat her, and then all the countries that she's protecting will then go up in flames, just like when Whitebeard was defeated. And there isn't this overlying like like grand purpose for doing it. Like if you were to beat someone like Kaido, I believe the same thing would happen in Kaido's territory if Kaido were defeated. But Kaido's planning on destroying the world, right? So then it's still like positive to defeat him. But with Big Mom seems to be like in her own country, doing her own thing. And she does destroy countries, but only if they don't like fulfill their promises, at least based on details revealed in the story so far. And so that's why I think that. But if Luffy is going to beat Big Mom, I could see Awakening playing a role. What if Green Bull is Zoro's dad? You know, I don't know. I don't know if we can say that, but that'd be pretty badass. I don't know. I personally like the idea that Zoro's ancestry dates back to Wano. So that's pretty much all that my entire thoughts about, you know, who Zoro's parents could be. But it's definitely an interesting question, just in general, just because, you know, we pretty much know the backstories of a lot of the Straw Hats, excluding, and they're like, actually, that's not true at all. But Zoro is one of the Straw Hats who we don't really know where he came from, his like descendants or whatever. And just given his like natural like A+ genetics, you kind of got to feel like he's got something going on here, that he's related to, you know, maybe somebody powerful. So, Joy Boy. Last chapter, Go to showed the dresser twice. I don't think that there would be a reason. Oh, damn it. Chat's going too fast. I just want to read the question. Reason than the other than Carrot and Chopper rescuing Sanji because they're in the mirror realm at the moment. Oh yeah, so I think you're talking about like the mirror located in Sanji's and Pudding's room right now. Yeah, I'm totally on that train right now. Like having access, Chopper and Carrot having access to all the mirrors in Whole Cake Island is going to give them a definite like vantage point to see a bunch of shit that, you know, Big Mom or, you know, anyone else doesn't want them to see. Now, I'm still not sure how exactly they're going to get out of the mirror world, right? Because like they got pushed in there, but like how exactly do you get out? But I would assume, like, I actually got a comment about this recently, like how I forgot what chapter it was, but there's a chapter specifically titled Groper, and in that chapter we literally got like 2 panels of what, you know, like Chopper and Carrot were doing, and the majority of that chapter straight up was Cracker versus Luffy. And so it kind of gives you the impression, like, even though this wasn't emphasized in the chapter, it's still, the chapter was named after it, which kind of gives it more importance. So I feel like in some way Chopper is going to have a hugely critical role in the plot going forward, to sort of unraveling the mystery of the Whole Cake Island arc. But how exactly he will do that is definitely up for debate. I would do a video on it, but I have absolutely no idea. I think Green Bull is Kobe. That seems to be a popular thought, but you know, I just don't. I feel like it's too early. Like I feel like the majority of the characters should achieve their dreams at the end of the story or right after the end of the story. And so I kind of lump Kobe in with the Straw Hats in that sense, because he's sort of like the antithesis to Luffy in a way. Like he's doing exactly what Luffy's doing, but on the marine side. So I feel like it's too early for him to already be an admiral. But if he was, that'd be pretty badass. There was a scene for every Luffy major fight, blah, 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 no scene. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So I think you're maybe talking about the whatever it's called, the intro to like where they show, instead of Luffy versus Big Mom, they show Luffy versus Kaido in the anime, I would assume. But I don't trust the anime. Just straight up, just don't trust the anime. They're fans just like us. Oda's not going to give them huge spoilers so that they can leak them online if he doesn't absolutely need to. Like you keep these details as close to your chest as possible. And so just because the anime showed Luffy versus Kaido, I think is more of a representation of the fact that Jack was in the Zoe arc, rather than you know, they know that Luffy won't face off against Big Mom in the Whole Cake Island arc. But I mean, certainly it's possible, but I wouldn't look too deeply into that. Is Frankie going to eat the Paw no Mi? I have seen this theory a bunch. And you know, I kind of wanted to do a video on this topic just to explain my thoughts. And you know, this may not be popular because in general, people like really crazy shit, like the Straw Hats eating a bunch of overpowered devil fruits, like Nami's gonna eat the snow fruit, Frankie's gonna eat the paw fruit, etc., etc. But this is what I gotta say about this. Oda has spent 800 chapters plus developing all of the Straw Hats fighting styles, from Zoro and his sword, Sanji and his kicks, Nami and her little wand or whatever it is, Frankie and his cyborgness, like 800 chapters developing their fighting styles, and to give them an overpowered devil fruit at this point in time would seem ridiculous to me. Like, you would literally throw away 800 chapters of character development. And so certainly it's possible, but I would consider that to be bad writing. And I don't look at Oda as someone who writes his story in a way that is not productive. Like, you don't go through half the story developing something and then throw it out the window. It's not productive. So with that being said, I don't believe in any theory in which any of the Straw Hats who currently don't have a devil fruit obtain a devil fruit, unless they are brand new characters to the story and they eat a devil fruit pretty soon after we meet them. So then Oda can then spend the rest of the time developing their devil fruit. But that's my opinion on that. But I have seen the theories about Kuma eating the pawpaw fruit, or not Kuma, Frankie, because the whole Gorowase, or however you pronounce it, the little wordplay game, we're missing the numbers 2 and 9, and there's several devil fruits which fit in the 2 and 9 pattern, but the most obvious of which is Kuma's devil fruit, and so you sort of just got to get that. And then they like paint similarities between Frankie being a cyborg, Kuma being a cyborg as well as like some other similarities. So I can see where the theory is coming from, but from just a purely basic level, I don't believe in it. Okay, so I've seen a million of these comments. Big Mom is Luffy's mom, and I'm just like, no, okay. I don't want to say no straight up because a lot of things are possible, but for that to be the case, for Dragon to have hooked up with Big Mom at this point in time is beyond ridiculous to me. Even if she's Luffy's grandma and she hooked up with Garp again, like, don't see it happening at all, but maybe we're in for literally the biggest plot twist ever in the history of One Piece. More comments. Drown fruit the best. Remember when Sanji had to spin to create fire? It makes sense because planets spin, so if his powers are that's a good comment. I made that theory a little bit ago, where this was actually not my theory. It was made by Theo Rai, or theory. But yeah, it's a pretty good theory. And like, if you tie sort of the cosmic theme with Sanji, like lots of like really odd hints that Sanji has some sort of space related theme or something like that. Then with the fact that his eyebrows swirl the other way, which is kind of reminiscent of Venus as well, and then what you just said there's quite a lot to get behind. But I'm not sure if that's the kind of theory that I would ship 100%, just because it's just there's been a lot of those kind of theories in the past, and pretty much they're always wrong, even if they make a lot of sense in many different ways. So I'm always hesitant to really get behind that ship. She's ugly. Dragon wouldn't go. Dude, you don't know. I mean, Dragon, he isn't the best looking guy in the world. Who's this guy on Joy Boy's channel? This is Joy Boy. Yo, Brago. There, I'm gonna make some of you guys moderator, because the chat is going so fast. You guys need to calm the fuck down. Pudding is the three-eyed girl. Hey, Nathan Law. By the way, subscribe to Nathan Law and Brago D Ace if you haven't already, because two of the best channels in the One Piece community. Nathan Law isn't really active now, but even his old stuff is worthy of checking out. And Brago is one of those people whose opinion that I respect pretty much more than anyone else. He's always on point. But anyway, Pudding is the three-eyed girl. I definitely think that is the case. Although there is some argument to be made for her being two separate people. But what I find to be interesting is that we saw the three-eyed girl initially with Big Mom, so clearly she has an important role to play. It's some sort of foreshadowing, whatever. But since that point in time that we saw her in like mid 600 chapters, we haven't seen her again. But we've seen Pudding a bunch, which kind of makes me think that they're the same person, right? Because you would suspect that you would have at least saw her at this point in time. And we know exactly what Pudding's been doing. But at the same time, there's you have Lola and Chiffon, who are twin sisters or sisters, so they're identical. So it kind of makes sense if, you know, perhaps Pudding has an identical sister as well, or identical with the third eye. But I just think that's ridiculous. But I've heard some really interesting thoughts recently, after my last video, as to what this could really be. And like for instance, she has Nitro the Jello, right, who sort of travels along with her, and it seems like it's animated by Big Mom. But I heard this thought that maybe the third eye is literally like Nitro, like attaching himself to her face in some way and giving her an extra eye to see in some way. I also like the general idea is that she's just a different race, period. She's just hiding it because she's uncomfortable with it, because she's a different race. And then this race has specific powers, for instance, like illusion powers, and it's like really rare. And that's why Big Mom sort of married her father in the first place, and then made her, because she was a different race. And we've seen for sure Big Mom hooks up with every single race. This is from Pirate King Buggy. As we know, Big Mom's sons and daughters are all strong people. So how strong do you think Pudding is, and could she be one of the commanders? I do not believe that Pudding is one of the commanders, but I will not be able to convince you otherwise if you do think that. First of all, just the main thing. Same thing with the whole thing that people still think Bobbin is the commander, or you know, anyone else. We have the specific names of the commanders. Katakuri, I think it is. And Smoothie and Cracker. And so for Pudding to be Katakuri or Smoothie doesn't make sense to me, because Cracker, his name was Cracker, right? So then Katakuri, her name would be Katakuri, and then etc. So then Pudding's name is Pudding at this point in time. You're married to the 35th daughter of Big Mom, Charlotte Pudding. So for that reason, I don't think that she's a sweet commander. I don't think she's an aggro fighter either. But I do, you know, you saw my last video where I think that she might have some illusion-based powers, because we see the clocks in Pudding's home when we first meet her in like chapter 829 or something like that. And then the next time we see the clocks is in the Seducing Woods, and they're very random. They look very, very similar to the clocks that are in Pudding's home. And then when we get to Pudding's room again in this last chapter, the first thing Oda shows us is a clock. So I think that ties Pudding directly into the Seducing Woods, although it could be a red herring as well. It could just be Oda is sort of setting up Pudding at this moment, but the clocks are really associated with someone else. Someone's like observing Pudding or something like that. It's always possible. So with some illusion-based powers, that would definitely make her a bit of a fighter, I would think, for sure. But I'm not sure if she's the kind of fighter that would just take someone on head-on, like strength-wise, but more of like deception, you know, sort of like a strategy type fighter. How will Nami forgive Sanji? Sanji's got to prove to her that he is 100% not you know, back in the Straw Hat crew, that he believed in them the entire time. I've seen a lot of thoughts recently, and I kind of like these as well. That what is it? So Sanji has said some very weird things at the end of chapter 845, like very strange things. A lot of people like read these and was like, you know, that just doesn't seem like Sanji. And for sure, Sanji is in a pickle right now, and so like no doubt he's probably in a different mindset than he has been in the entire story. But some of the differences are really, really astounding, such as you know, like normally he would go, you know, like crazy over a girl, like heart eyes, blood running out of the nose. But in this situation, he was very, very suave. We'll put it that way. And then in general, like he's like, you know, I'm gonna go with the flow now. But he should know at this point in time that Luffy is screwed, right? Luffy will wait there. If he knows Luffy at all, he knows Luffy will wait there until he returns. And so with that being said, with Sanji doing nothing, he's basically signing Luffy's death sentence. And so hold on just one second. But anyway, so he's signing Luffy's death sentence. And so then his decision just wouldn't make any sense to me, at least, you know, like regardless of whether or not you think there's no hope or not, or like you could sacrifice Zeph's life or whatever it might be. Choosing the course of action that he did is really odd. So with that being said, perhaps Sanji, this is all a ruse in order for Sanji to take care of his own business. Basically, he's already sort of figured out a plan in a way. He's like, in a way, lying to Pudding, basically saying, oh yeah, I'm going to marry you, because he knows that Big Mom is watching. And I mean, that's just a train of thought that makes sense to me. Hold on one second, guys. I gotta pull up the chat again. The upload time is so slow. So what do you think Blackbeard's third devil fruit will be if he gets another? First of all, I think Blackbeard will get another devil fruit, no doubt. Just because it just would seem really awkward for it just to be two, with the whole three theme in Blackbeard. Three pistols. His devil fruit specifically has three skulls, and devil fruit has three skulls. His Jolly Roger has three skulls. And so Jolly Rogers are always indicative of sort of the powers in some way of the person who their captain is, or in some way related to the crew. So anyway, the third devil fruit, I've seen a lot of talk that it's going to be Marco's fruit. And this makes a lot of sense on a lot of different levels, just because Marco's fruit, in combination with the fruits that he already possesses, like the Guru no Mi is straight up aggro. It is one of the strongest, just damage-wise, fruits in the story. Then you have the Darkness fruit, which special ability allows him to basically negate other people's devil fruits, right? And then additionally, it allows him to draw them into him as well, which is useful. And then so with Marco's fruit, Blackbeard takes a lot of damage, right? And so then it would make sense for him to in some way be able to negate this damage, which is where Marco's fruit would make a lot of sense. Just from a standpoint of Blackbeard is one of the final villains, if not the final villain in the story of One Piece. He's going to be overpowered, unbeatable. At least that's what we're going to be led to believe by the end of the story. So this combination would legitimately probably make him that strong. However, with that being said, I can't really imagine Blackbeard as a Phoenix. Just from a purely story standpoint, Blackbeard is an enemy. And I feel like all of his fruits should have sort of a dark theme to them. Like, for instance, the Darkness fruit has that. Earthquakes is a natural disaster. And then you have the Phoenix, which is, in general, a very positively associated mythical beast. So for that reason alone, I'm skeptical of believing that theory. And so that goes to the other thing, which is that Blackbeard has the strongest Logia type devil fruit, at least in his opinion. He has the strongest Paramecia type devil fruit in a lot of people's opinions. And then so what's left? The strongest zone type devil fruit. And zone types, which is the strongest that we can theoretically make. We have currently two mythical zones in Marco and Sengoku. So both of those would make sense in various ways, but I'm not sure if I could call them the strongest zone type devil fruit. And then we have Kaido, the king of the beasts himself, with a crew of all zone type fruit users and smile fruit eaters. I think that if anyone's going to have the strongest zone in the series, it would be Kaido. And so with that being said, Blackbeard could potentially steal Kaido's fruit. But how exactly he would do that under one circumstance or whatever is definitely questionable. Let's see. How close is Zoro to Luffy in your opinion? I think Zoro is very close, honestly. I think Zoro and Sanji are both pretty close to Luffy. But just, I'm probably going to get hate for this, but I think Zoro is definitely stronger than Sanji, no question. But I won't get into that because that causes a lot of chaos. And, I already regret saying what I just did. But anyway, the way that I look at it is Rayleigh is ridiculously overpowered. And I don't think Rayleigh was as strong as Gold Teeth Roger. But I feel like those two were both top tier fighters. And so I get the same impression from Zoro and Luffy. You see a lot of random comments throughout the arcs of wow, I can't believe that this dude is a subordinate to this other guy. Like, he should be a captain by himself. And I definitely get that impression. But I do want to slow the train a little bit, though, because, Zoro, but so far in the New World, he hasn't been tested yet. Really, certainly Pico should have been strong, but Zoro just completely massacred him. There's no way Zoro is stronger than Luffy. I'm just gonna put that up right now. So with Zoro not being tested and Luffy taking all the strong fighters, we don't really have an accurate gauge to really compare Luffy to Zoro post time skip as of right now. But I do think that they are pretty similar. If they were to fight, I think it would be a really good fight. Usopp greater than Zoro. Agreed. Got Usopp for the win. Sanji stronger than Zoro. You see, I already regret saying that. I probably lost 15 subscribers at least. Oh, that's kinky. What's Kaido's devil fruit? I've done theories on this, but and you know what? Actually, there's some things that I haven't said that I really want to say. So there's seemingly four popular ideas. The first of which is that he is the dragon, mythical zone or ancient zone type dragon fruit eater. This is what I subscribe to. There's also the thought that he has the Oni devil fruit, which I do not subscribe to for very specific reasons. And then he's like the Typhon or something like that, which, you know, it could be the Typhon, but we don't really have any good examples of Oda using the kind of like Greek mythical creatures such as the Typhon or the Sphinx, or just, you know, like the conglomerate type creatures, the Chimera, which are multiple animals in one. I haven't seen any examples of that, so it's really hard for me to get onto the Typhon train. And then the fourth idea is that he does not have a devil fruit at all, which I can definitely get behind to some extent, but I prefer the idea that he does have an overpowered devil fruit. So going into the Oni thing, there is no doubt, 100% true, that that Kaido's design is based on the Oni, the traditional Japanese Oni. Like if you ever watch Dragon Ball Z, when Goku goes to the spirit realm or whatever it is, the death place, and he like runs on Snake Way, there's the red and then the blue guy, which he falls down to. Like that is the traditional Japanese Oni for the most part, and portrayed in anime. And Kaido has the same sort of things. He has a club. His design is very beast-like, got the horns, you know. So I can see where people think that he is an Oni zone, but I want to throw this out here, which is that have we ever seen a person whose specific design, like the design that inspired their character, have we ever seen them have the same devil fruit as their design is inspired from? And the answer to that question is, as far as I'm aware, no. So like Oda used the Oni to help design the character Kaido, but that does not mean that he has the Oni devil fruit. I think that, in fact, it honestly supports the idea that he wouldn't have the Oni devil fruit. It's just the basis for his character design. So it's kind of like Chopper. Chopper is a reindeer, which a reindeer inspired Chopper's design in many ways. But he doesn't have the reindeer fruit. He has the human fruit. You can do this for pretty much every character with a devil fruit, although it's kind of hard to find exact matches for characters who are just so odd that we can pin down what exactly inspired their design, assuming it wasn't like a real-life person like all the animals. What do you think about Burgess eating Diamond Jozu's devil fruit instead of Shiru? A fail, as many people said. I think by the end of the story, for sure, the Blackbeard crew as a whole will all have overpowered devil fruits. But as to which specific devil fruit each of Blackbeard's major commanders will eat, I really have no idea. I mean, Burgess, I think it would make sense from Burgess's fighting style for him to be a diamond man. Basically, you know, you're punching, that's your fighting style, but now you're made out of diamond, the strongest material in the world. That would undoubtedly make you stronger. Whereas, you know, I'm not even saying Shiruru, he's more of a swordsman. And so from that sense, swordsmen don't take a lot of hits, right? The whole point of a sword is to strike your opponent and then block their, you know, attacks or whatever it might be. So in that sense, I think it would be less useful for, you know, I'm not even gonna say the name, the other guy, to have that devil fruit. But it's obviously debatable at this point in time. I'm not even 100% sure that Jozu will end up dying and Blackbeard will steal his fruit, although it's definitely possible. Do you really believe there will be another Straw Hat crew member, or will the fleet simply increase? So I definitely believe there will be at least one more Straw Hat crew member. At least, definitely, no questions in my mind. Straw Hat Luffy said that he wanted at least 10 more friends, or 10 more Nakama. And I would assume that Luffy would not include himself in this 10, which would mean that there would be 11 total, including Luffy. So Luffy is 1, and then all the way up to 11. And with that being said, I believe strongly that Jinbei will join the crew, which would give us 10 total Straw Hats, which would mean we would at least need one more. But keep in mind, a lot of people brought this up, that Luffy said at least 10. And there's a lot of people that I think we can get behind for somebody to join the crew. Like a lot of people are talking about Pedro and Carrot. I can see why you're thinking that, and I can definitely see it being possible. Kinemon has definitely some possibility. So with that being said, I think there's also the potential that they at least will come into play, and Oda will give the Straw Hats 12, maybe even 13 or 14. He can do whatever the hell he really wants to do, but I think we should keep it probably at 12 max. Joy Boy, who do you think is the fourth strongest Straw Hat member after the Sanji Monster Trio? So that's tough. That's tough. If Jinbei joins, he would definitely be number 4. Let's see. We have Frankie, Brook, Usopp. Usopp was stated in an SBS to always be the weakest member of the Straw Hats by Oda. So I know a lot of people want to get behind the Usopp hype train, but there's specific evidence that suggests against that. So I don't think it's Usopp, definitely. Nami doesn't strike me as someone who'd be number 4, excluding Jinbei, or number 5. I would have to say Brook. Or Nico Robin. Nico Robin. This is a tough question. I don't know. Fuck if I know. Could be anyone. They're all equal. Oh, we have someone saying Jinbei would be number 3 ahead of Sanji. Get out of here. Get out of here. Monster Trio will not be broken up. After the Wano arc, will there be a next arc, do you think? I think the Wano arc is going to be big. Kaido specifically said he wanted to create a war that would destroy the world. So that arc is going to be absolutely huge. And we're already at like 70 to 75% of the story. So getting into the Wano arc, that would be like 75 to 85, 90% of the story. So I think the arc after the Wano may legitimately be either finding a Raftel arc, definitely think that's legit, or the Reverie arc, if the Straw Hats end up joining in that. Hard to be certain. I personally believe that the Straw Hats will actually find the One Piece before we get into a specific confrontation with the world government. So that being said, I would prefer it to be the Blackbeard versus Luffy fight for being the Pirate King in Raftel arc, immediately after Wano arc. Oh, Elbaf. I completely forgot about Elbaf. Well, fuck my life. Then it would have to be Elbaf, I would imagine, unless Elbaf has something specific to do with, it's probably, well, that actually makes 100%. So we're running out of time in the story. So a lot of people don't know where one of the rogue poneglyphs is. So we have Elbaf, definitely, guaranteed Elbaf will be in the story. So we have not much of the story left. So that would kind of lead me to believe that the last rogue poneglyph would be, or one of the last rogue poneglyphs would be in Elbaf. They'll find that one so that they can quickly get to the end of the Grand Line and find Raftel, find the true history. Reverie after Whole Cake. Well, so it sort of depends. It depends. If the Strats are going to be at the Reverie, then I don't see it happening. But if the Reverie is going to happen while the Strats are doing something else, like we'll get like cameos of the Reverie arc while the Strats are doing other things, then I could see it happen. Brooke is already dead. Are you secretly Oda? Definitely not. What is Gear 5th? I'm actually, so Legend Mac made a video recently about Gear 5th. And so it kind of reminded me that I had a theory on the back burner for a long time that I wanted to do, which was my Gear 5th video. But I have a lot of videos that I forget about just because I can't upload all the videos as they occur to me or as I think of the theory. And if you upload like 5 videos in a day, no one's going to watch that. So I have to forget about things. So the Gear 5th video is probably going to come soon, but I just want you guys to keep this in mind when it comes to Gear 5th. I've seen a lot of speculation like Gear 5th is Luffy's awakening. Gear 5th has something to do with Conqueror's Hockey Blood. Any things along those lines. I personally believe that Gear 5th will follow the trend of Gears 2 through 4, which is that every single one of those gears affects Luffy's body in a way that he can use his devil fruit to his advantage. So like Gear 2nd, he basically pumps his legs, increasing his blood flow to, and like normal people would not be able to take that as much blood pressure as Luffy does, but he can because his entire body is made out of rubber. So it has everything to do with blood. And then Gear 3rd has to do with his bones. His bones being made out of rubber, he can inflate them. Gear 4th has to do with his muscles. He can inflate his muscles, which in shonen logic, rather than turning into balloons, turned into overpowered muscles. And so we have muscles, bone, and blood. So if there was a Gear 5th, I personally believe it would also affect part of Luffy's body that he could manipulate via his rubber body. And so I will explain my thoughts on this specifically in the video that I'll probably be uploading either after the chapter release or be the next video that I make. But we only have a few more body systems left, a few more real possibilities, and so with that being said, I think that we can speculate something about that. Now, as far as like awakening goes, like some people are like, oh, awakening will be gear 5th. I personally think that you can apply your awakening to every single one of your gear forms. Like a gear is basically like Frieza, where he like transforms, right? Frieza transforms. Luffy is sort of similar. That's what the gear is in essence. So I don't think the awakening would transform Luffy and qualify as a gear. I think that it would just be a power that he unlocks to make him stronger in every single one of his forms. The same thing with if there was some sort of awesome Conqueror's Haki or something like that that he unlocked. Again, don't think that that would be a transformation like all the previous gears. I think it would be just a power that he could add on to those. Do you think Luffy will die at the end like Roger? I've seen a lot of that speculation, and I'm so on the fence that I don't want to say either way. I think it's definitely possible. Or he may die, like for a little bit of time, and then sort of like be brought back to life through something like that. I know Oda has said that he doesn't bring characters back to life, but if it's not like a true death or something like that, then that would work. I definitely think that Luffy will, by the end of the story, need to be saved by Chopper. We can see all of Luffy's gears, for the most part, have drawbacks, huge drawbacks, that in some way limit his lifespan. And then we can talk about the poisoning with Magellan, poisoning that he just got again with the stupid fish or whatever it was. And so a lot of the things that he's doing is severely limiting his lifespan, which I believe could very well lead to him having a sickness just like Goldie Roger. But probably what I believe more than anything else is that we can see the parallels between Roger's journey and Luffy's journey. Roger failed. Luffy will succeed, and part of succeeding may be that Chopper, being the best doctor in the world, will find a way how to cure any disease, specifically perhaps the disease or sickness that Luffy might have in the future. Shanks versus Kaido. I don't think that Shanks is going to fight Kaido, but certainly it's possible. I think Kaido is straight up Luffy and the Supernova's opponents 100%. I think it's going to be Blackbeard versus Shanks. Just because Blackbeard said in the Marineford arc that it wasn't yet time for Shanks, which straight up implies that there will be a time in the future when he would need to fight Shanks. And then so there was a lot of talk as well that maybe like Captain Kidd and their alliance would take on Shanks and defeat him at some point in the future, but it seems very unlikely at this point in time. So I do believe that Shanks will be defeated, not by Luffy. I think it would make zero sense for Luffy to take out Shanks, just from the standpoint that Luffy is the good guy, and to that battle would have no significance for me if it was just a sparring match to see who's stronger. Oh, Luffy beat me. Okay, well now he can become the Pirate King. That would have no really emotional effect on me. So with that being said, I think it would be much more powerful if Shanks was defeated and potentially killed by somebody else, and somebody that I would point to being able to do that would be Blackbeard. Vegapunk. He should be showing up in the story pretty soon. The other day I had a theory about where Caesar could end up. And so, like Oda has said in SBS that very soon this character will be introduced in the story. So, where would I look for something like that to be very soon? I mean, unless very soon to Oda means 5 years later, then maybe the Wano arc is when Vegapunk is going to appear. Just a thought. Shanks is not going to die. I mean, I don't know how you can be certain either way. I don't know how you can be 100% certain that Shanks will or will not die. Certainly, you can create situations which argue for either situation, but at the end of the day, it comes to what you believe is possible and which evidence is that you choose to take seriously or not. But as far as my understanding of death goes, the only characters in One Piece that straight up die are characters that, for the story, need to die. So, like, for instance, Ace. Like, I don't think Luffy and Ace could have ever fought for the title of Pirate King, because just like Luffy fighting Shanks, that battle wouldn't have the kind of gravitas that would be really like engaging, right? Because we know that at the end of the day, even if Luffy wins or loses, the fight is all in good fun. And so what did Oda do? Oda killed off Ace, and then at the same time gave Luffy sort of realization that the 2-year time skip was necessary because he wasn't strong enough yet. Same thing with Whitebeard. Whitebeard was sort of protecting the new world. He was protecting new generations of pirates from sort of taking the throne of the Pirate King. we're finally at the part of the story where somebody will become the new Pirate King. In order for that to occur, you need to take out Whitebeard. And usher in a new era, or whatever it is. And so with that being said, I think Whitebeard should die. It's the same reason why I believe Big Mom should die. And then going into Shanks, again, same reason I think Shanks should die. And also consider, like, this is another thought that I had, like, if you have 4 Yonko, all 4 of them, they teamed up and they took on the world government, I honestly believe the Yonko would win. Like, just imagine, like, Blackbeard and Kaido and Big Mom and Shanks. They're like, fuck it, let's destroy the world government. I believe with all their forces, they could do it. The problem is they don't agree. They have their own agendas. So even Luffy, once Luffy becomes the Pirate King, I don't think that he should have subordinates that are Yonko, like Shanks or Big Mom or Kaido or whoever it might be. I honestly think that would make Luffy too overpowered, right? So with that being said, then it would make more sense if they were incapacitated or, killed. New Nakama Buggy, nope. Joyboy, what do you think the logo of the Marines is related to Uranus, a line between 2 moons? Please let me know your thoughts. I have no idea what that theory is. So I wish I could help you, but I don't see the connection between Uranus and the Marine flag. What do you think about Fishman Island bomb? The Tomatabako, or the Tomatabako box, as I call it, which is basically tomato box, if you were to translate it literally, is going to be important. There's absolutely no reason to have it in the story, aside from the fact that it will play a role, just straight up. And so I've always, I've done my theory on this. You should check out the video, Whole Cake Island Mega Theory, Capone's Plan. In that video, I talk about pretty much everything related to that. But I think that it would have to go off, and we have to create a situation in which it would make sense for it to go off, it's a treasure, and then we have a gift exchange going on between the Vince folks and the Big Mom Pirates. So then it would make a lot of sense to me for it to go off during that time for whatever reason. But I personally believe that perhaps Capone plays a role in that happening, but it doesn't have to be the case. But I definitely think that either during the wedding or during the gift exchange, this would happen. And I definitely think it will play an important role, again, because there'd be no reason to include it as a huge detail, hundreds of chapters beforehand, if it didn't have a huge role to play. Cover story concepts. I'm no good at those, man. What do you think about Luffy receiving a magical staff? You mean like Goku with the grow longer staff? I forgot what it's called. I don't think so. What's the deal with Zoro's eye? It's closed. Just kidding. I don't know. I've seen a lot of theories, like the cursed sword having a role on Zoro's sort of powers or whatever, Asura, etc. And so basically he closed his eyes because he was gonna be succumbed to the evil spirit that is in some way like trying to take him over. That's probably the best idea out there right now, but I'm not sure if any idea really sticks out to me as like, yes, this is the answer. Power pole, yep. What do you think about the red line? It's very big. I think that it was probably created during the Void Century, like straight up like created, not just not that it has always existed in the world of One Piece, but like there was, because we have this all blue, right? The all blue at one point in time existed. Otherwise, there wouldn't be rumors of the all blue, I feel like. Although it could just be that the all blue was a lie that was created in order to destroy the red line. But anyway, point is that the red line prevents the all blue from existing. So if there was ever an all blue in the past, then there would have not had to been a red line, or there would be one place in the world where the red line, crosses the world like this, right, all the way around. So then there would have to be one place within the red line where all these fish sort of come to meet, and that would be the all blue. That wouldn't really strike me as a sea, more of like a I don't know, like a lake or something like that. So why did Usopp fight Treble? Because he's a badass. No fear. Usopp should have died so many times. That's Usopp's greatest power. He has, if anyone has the luck fruit, I'm pretty sure it'd be Usopp. The Yuki no Mi, that's the snow one, right? I don't believe that Nami is going to eat the snow fruit. Thoughts on hockey and its origins? Fuck if I know. But I do have some thoughts on hockey. Hockey is One, I'm almost 100% convinced at this point in time that Haki came into existence in the story after the time skip. That's like Oda had initial designs for like Conqueror's Haki, and then Observation Haki, but they weren't straight up Haki. They were just powers that were specific to various people. Like for instance, like the Sky Islands, they had mantra. They didn't call it Haki, they called it mantra. And I believe they also didn't show any armament Haki as well. I just think that that was like Oda making that arc more interesting. Going back to Conqueror's Haki, people said that it's been foreshadowed in chapter 1 with Shanks, but that could very well just be like Shanks was a very intimidating guy. Like you pissed him off, he looked at you, you got the fuck out of there. So Haki, I believe, after the time skip came into existence because we didn't see armament Haki at all during the pre-time skip, and which does make sense to me. And so it's so hard to theorize based on like evidence in the story because in times where we should have expected to see Haki, we didn't see it. So then we don't know if it was there or not. But given what we know post-time skip, we should just always assume that it's there. Like for instance, Whitebeard. Whitebeard was a Yonko. He should have 100% mastery of Haki. And so the fact that we didn't see him use any armament Haki whatsoever just doesn't make any sense. So we just got to assume that at certain points that he must have for the fight to make sense. But it's very confusing. Do you think Vegapunk is at Emerald City? I don't know why you would think that, but if you could give me evidence that would tie those things together, then potentially I could. Dragon had Haki in Logtown. True enough. True enough. I would probably need to think about that more before I'd be 100% on. Oh yeah, just as an FYI, guys, I might say some stupid shit in the stream. Just expect it because I'm not fact checking myself. Like when I make a video, I make sure that I, for the best of my ability, make sure that I don't, say something ridiculously stupid. Although it happens anyway. So with me talking just completely off the top of my head, expect some contradictions. Dolphy and Viola confirmed to be in a relationship in an SBS. What are your thoughts? Damn. Like, that's, yep. When will we learn about the moons? Soon, I would imagine, or not at all. Every human makes mistakes. Oh, that's no, shouldn't read that. Vegapunk in Blackbeard's crew. I do not think so, but if you can explain why you think that, then I potentially could. Vegapunk is good or bad? I believe Vegapunk is good and a revolutionary, but obviously it's very debatable at this moment in time given that he works for the Marines. So that wouldn't make 100% sense given what we know explicitly about him. It makes more sense based on a theoretical view of what we know about him, like for instance, personality, etc. Joyboy, do you think that there is a chance Vista is evil and will join Blackbeard? Again, I'm not sure why you would think that. Like, is there anything based on his character or his actions which implies that that might be the case? Or is that just an idea? Zoro will fight his father in Wano. You know what would be really cool is if Zoro was actually the heir to the Shogun of Wano. Like, Momonosuke isn't the heir to the Shogun. He's the heir to a daimyo, or however you pronounce that. So basically a lord. So it'd be really cool if Zoro was legitimately the son of the Shogun that got lost in childhood or something like that. I'm sure somebody could draw some parallel to some ancient Japanese story and make that theory seem reasonable. Do you think that Luffy will be the sacrifice in Big Mom's tea party? I've seen a lot of these theories, honestly, because we have clear implications that Big Mom eats people. She talks about, like sacrifice at the tea party, like, make the frosting out of blood, etc. And so she seems excited for Luffy to be there, and I have my own thoughts on that. But the alternative thoughts is that Big Mom actually wants Luffy to like bake him into a cake or something like that. I could definitely see that being possible from the standpoint of inevitably Luffy will defeat Big Mom. But since I can't see Luffy defeating Big Mom at this moment, it makes me not want to believe that theory. And then in addition to that, Big Mom likes sweets. She likes sweet things, cakes, confections, etc. And so for, there really to be a sacrifice involved at the wedding, specifically involved with making Luffy into part of the cake, honestly just does not make sense to me right now. If this is what Joyboy looks like, I'll quit reading One Piece. Sorry, bro. What will happen at the World Government Reverie? I think the revolutionaries will show up, but a lot of things could happen. I think for sure the topic of the Shishibukai, abolishing the Shishibukai system is definitely going to play a role. Whoa, guys, got to slow the fuck down here. What made you get into YouTube and start creating One Piece theories? I started creating One Piece theories before I got onto YouTube by about a year and a half, a year or so. I just enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm the kind of person that likes to spoil myself. I like to connect the dots, and I like to see if I'm right or wrong, straight up. And so I just started doing that. A lot of people liked my theories on Orange Jackson, but they weren't getting a lot of hits. So it was like, wow, like, you know, not very many people watched it, but everyone who did or read it really enjoyed it. So I was kind of thinking, like, I kind of want a different platform here. And then there was this whole thing about stealing theories. One of my theories was stolen as well and put onto YouTube. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to take the time to make this theory and for someone else to basically take credit for that theory from me, which is, you try not to be prideful, but at the same time, like it's frustrating if someone just straight up takes your words and then calls them his own. And so I was like, well, why not make some YouTube videos? At the very least, by the date of time, I can prove that I was actually the first person to theorize this, because in Orange Jackson, if you edit the theory, then it changes the date. And I love editing my theories because nothing ever comes out right the first time that I do something. So then even if I made the theory first, if I edited after someone else uploaded a video on it, then you couldn't compare the dates or whatever. Anyway, long story short is I started making YouTube videos. I very much enjoyed it. And then it became sort of like a game for me. Like how many, how good can I do? How many ideas can I get out there? How many subscribers can I get? I just enjoy the whole process of that, as well as I like sharing my thoughts. And having, especially when I got into voice series, it allowed me to communicate my theories on One Piece a lot quicker than just typing them out, which takes a lot of time to do, a lot of free time. So that's why that happened. Can the D stand for double or devil? I'm not sure what devil is. That may be the reason Blackbeard has 2 devil fruit powers. I'm not sure where you see the connection there, but I definitely think the strongest evidence out there is that D stands for devil, but that is absolutely in no way guaranteed to be the case. And I think that we're probably in for a surprise when it comes to what the D stands for. So I'm getting an absolute ton of comments. So if anybody absolutely has to have their question answered, there's a link to in my description to PayPal if you want to send me a small donation. I will guarantee read your answers, or you can send me a message on Twitter, absolutely free, to ensure that I actually reply to your comments, because these comments are going way too fast and I can't get to everyone. Is your middle initial D? No, it's C, but that's even more special. Buggy is Anime Fantog's bitch. What about the D standing for Davy Jones? I mean, at this point, anything is possible. I don't think there's evidence to really support that, really, as far as I'm aware, but it could be. Blackbeard is more than one person. Agreed, 100%. Like, we have this strangeness about Blackbeard's body, right? We have the fact that he is able to consume more than one devil fruit. I also have thoughts that sort of tie the fact that one person can only eat one devil fruit. Blackbeard can eat more than one devil fruit, which potentially implies that he is more than one person. Combined with the strangeness in his body, it makes a lot of sense. Now, what could this actually be? I think the best thought on this idea is like some sort of genetic mutation where you have like your brother or something, your twin that's like trapped in your body or something like that. I don't know the exact name of that, but that's probably the best idea out there. But I'm really hoping that's not the case, because that seems way too scientific to be true. Do you think Sanji is faking the whole lovey-dovey situation with pudding just so he can get access to the keys? I have addressed that earlier in the stream, and yes, I do think it's possible. You still doing business? I'm not sure what that means, Youssef. What are your thoughts about will Oda kill me? Probably. Well, depending on if you're a dick or not. What are your thoughts about Joy Boy as a character? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious he's the king of the D's kingdom, but it could be someone else. Um, I don't know what else it could be though. So like if I'm gonna believe something, I have to have a reason to believe it. So we have Joy Boy, who specifically made a poneglyph of apology. Poneglyphs are directly associated with the D Kingdom, which would imply that Joy Boy had a huge role within the ancient kingdom. And so that would, we also have connections between the D's and then as well as the makers of the poneglyphs, the ancient kingdom, which would probably make Joy Boy a D as well. Which is why I named my channel after Joy Boy, because I'm pretty sure he's like the Luffy, the OG Luffy. Where is Arlong, and when will he come back in the story? Arlong is in prison, and he may never show up again. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he's necessary in the story, but if he does show up again, he'll show up at the final battle with everyone else fighting against the world government, because pretty much all of Luffy's enemies, he changes how they look at the world in some way. At least so far, that's been specifically revealed. Although Doflamingo is pretty fucked up. I'm not sure if he's savable. Luffy's mom, Dadan, is honestly what I think. What are your thoughts about the third eye? I talked about that earlier in the stream, but I think that it might have some illusion-based powers, be basically her race. Favorite devil fruits? Oh, that's an interesting question. Oh, favorite devil fruits. Favorite devil fruits. I love Kuma's devil fruit. You guys probably, maybe some of you saw my video on like top 5 most overpowered devil fruits given to characters that don't really deserve them. I got a lot of hate for including Kuma on the list, but I love the pawpaw fruit, no doubt about it. Any other devil fruits? Just think the gravity fruit is pretty badass from Fujitora. That one's definitely in competition. All right, so I've answered your questions. Let's check Twitter. Twitter. What are some of the theories you've made that have come true? Oh man, this is the dick punch question. No, just kidding. I haven't gotten any big theories at this point, right? Because from the point in time where I was actually writing theories, a lot of the stuff that I initially focused on was things that are so far out in the future. I love the Void Century, straight up. So a lot of the Void Century stuff I made a long time ago. But as far as like the short-term things, it's sort of like you can look at like small things like Jack was defeated in less than one chapter. That was something that I said beforehand. There's a lot of like really small things, but I've yet to get a really big one. But that's just due to time. So we're about to find out. I also haven't yet to have a big one been proved wrong at this point in time. Probably the best theory that I ever made was Momonosuke having the ability to hear the voice of all things. That's still for some reason controversial for whatever reason, but there was that panel in I think it was chapter 816 where he's like, oh, that voice, it's like really disturbing him. And in that theory, I actually predicted that he was hearing the word poneglyph that they were actually visiting. So in a sense, I was wrong. But at the same time, he was hearing Zunisha's voice, which is hearing an animal's voice is pretty much directly associated with the voice of all things at this point in time. So in a sense, I was also correct. I just missed out on that one little jump that we needed to make, which is that if Momonosuke is hearing a voice, what are our possible sources? One was the word poneglyph, since Roger was stated to have heard the voice of the poneglyphs. The other one was Zunisha being a giant animal, so it would make some sense for Momonosuke to be able to hear her voice from far away. You got a mop in the background. Yeah, I love cleaning. Yeah, my setup is ghetto, but we're not here for aesthetics, right? We're here for knowledge. Do you think the ancient kingdom could have created the devil fruits? Definitely. I definitely think so. Or it's just a thing that was natural to the world. But I prefer the idea that the ancient kingdom created them, because we have people who do things against the world government are called demons and or devils. Always. We have the D initial as well, which is another reason why I think that the D stands for, devil. And then so we have the ancient kingdom who sort of brought this whole thing together. And then so we know that the Marines in the world government don't know how to recreate a devil fruit, because Vegapunk is trying and failing. Caesar is trying and failing. So why don't they know it? They must not have been the people to create them. So what other major kingdom could have possibly created the devil fruits if they're not natural to the world of One Piece? Would be the ancient kingdom. Are the monsters and thriller barks? Oh wait, I'm gonna check 3 more. Do you believe Gin or Don Krieg will come back in this arc? I've heard a lot of theories about Gin or Jin returning for this arc. I think it's possible for sure, but it's hard to be 100% certain. Certainly, this is Sanji's arc. There's a lot of throwbacks to the past in this arc. We already have Zeph, so then it'd be cool if Gin showed up, and he made a promise that he would. And we're running out of sort of people for him to be associated with for that to be a thing. So I would go so far as to say that I think that it's definitely something you can get behind. What do you think of Pedro, Baron Tamago, and Peckham's relationship? Pedro, Baron Tamago, and Peckham's relationship. I think Peckham's and Pedro infiltrated Big Mom's territory to retrieve a road poneglyph and were completely annihilated. And so I think that Peckham's, for whatever reason, realized that he wasn't going to get out alive unless he joined Big Mom, or in some way came to respect Big Mom and her power while in that arc and became a subordinate, and then afterwards became a very loyal subordinate with more time spent in her country and all those things. We should also keep in mind that the Minks in general should be very appreciative of what Big Mom is creating on Whole Cake Island, just because this is a place where all those races that are discriminated against, it's a safe place to be, and this includes the Minks. So with that being said, that could have added another reason for Peckham to stay with Big Mom. Baron Tamago and Peckham's obviously have been longtime partners. Baron has even gone on record as saying that he would go on the line to try and help out Peckham's, try and plead for mercy because of what he's done with the Straw Hats. So I definitely think that he's a fan of Peckham's, but he's at this point doesn't understand what exactly Peckham's is doing and why he's doing it. And as far as Pedro is concerned, I'm very interested. It seems like he doesn't have a great relationship with Peckham's, despite them traveling together to go get the road poneglyph, which is interesting, which makes me kind of suggest that Pedro and Peckham's had some sort of mini falling out, but not really. But it's hard to be sure. On checking PayPal. Man, we're going strong though, guys. We're going strong. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to answer your questions, but it seems like so far it's going good. So I got a PayPal notification from John Clark for $1. Thank you, John. He says, "Hey, Joy Boy, do you think Nami will get a boost to her strength in this arc?" Definitely. We know Big Mom has control over the weather in one way or another, and I believe the reason for this is she has weather homies that she controls. Agreed. I think Nami will control these homies to protect Luffy from the oncoming army. Definitely. What do you think of this theory? Well, spoiler alert. Agreed. Also, the biggest question I have is, do you think Nami will receive a more permanent power boost from this interaction with Big Mom? Perhaps Big Mom will teach her something. Maybe Nami will permanently control her weather homies. I think Nami will get a power boost this arc due to Big Mom directly or indirectly. Please discuss your feelings on this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so totally agreed with your thoughts on Nami as far as the homies. She has, right now, with the Beaver Card, power over the homies. So perfect that they're weather homies. This is also explained to be a pretty big deal that Big Mom has control over these homies. So for Nami to take those and then use them against Big Mom's subordinates in order to help protect Luffy would be a totally badass Nami moment, perhaps the most badass Nami moment in the story if it's true, and would make a lot of sense as well based on what we know. And then, so, will her boost be permanent in this arc or not? It's hard to be 100% certain. We know that she just got a new tempo or a new wand or whatever it is, and so we haven't really seen the powers of that in particular yet. So I'm more inclined to believe that her permanent boost from this arc will be the revelation of what exactly she can do with her new wand. But maybe she'll figure out something like with how to use it in this arc, and maybe that will be the permanent boost. So in this sense, that I would agree with you. Going back to Twitter. Got a picture. Do you think that the Goro Goro no Mi emails fruit is amazing or overrated? Also, do you think NL is coming back? I think that the Goro Goro no Mi is potentially the most powerful Logia devil fruit. But then with that being said, there's also a lot of other very strong Logia devil fruits. But I think it is in a class alone, along with some of the strongest ones. For instance, the light fruit that Kizaru has, the gravity fruit that Fujitora has, the magma fruit, you know, yeah, I think it's probably even stronger than the ice fruit. Basically, with lightning, theoretically, at the very least, you're as fast as electricity, which, although not being quite as fast as the speed of light like Kizaru, is still extremely fast. He also uses his ability to pretty much hear everything that's going around, like going on around him, in just a ridiculous amount of distance. So he's pretty much omnipotent. Man, that took some trouble. And then just, I mean, to shock somebody with so many volts, if they're not made out of rubber, it's just instant death. Like straight up, it's instant death. So I don't know if it's overrated or not, because I don't know what other people think about this fruit, but I definitely think it's probably in the very top tier of Logia devil fruits. And do I think NL is coming back? I hope so, but I can't be 100% certain. The Shogun is supposedly the second antagonist of the Wano arc with Kaido. Agreed. The Shogun, I think I've seen some comments that basically, in general, the Shogun is supposed to be the strongest swordsman in Wano Kingdom. And so it would make sense for him to be strong. We also know that he's an antagonist because Momonosuke and Kinemon want to take down Kaido and the Shogun. Both of them combined to kill their Momo's father, Odin. So I definitely think when the Wano arc comes around that the Shogun is going to have a huge role to play. The question for me is that whether the Shogun is going to have an arc entirely to himself and then Kaido will be afterwards, or if there will be, you know, two major bosses in the Wano arc. It's hard to be certain. So, are there commanders other than Sweet? Well, we already have what the dairy commanders or whatever they are, like cream cheese and butter or whatever it was. So I mean, there could be other groups, but I think the commanders are the strongest. Will Lucci be admiral level next time we see him? Admiral level. I have a lot of respect for admirals, more than it seems like a lot of people do. I think admirals and Yonkos could fight head to head, and it would be a fairly equal fight. So with that being said, I don't think Lucci is ever going to reach that, but perhaps he could be close. I definitely don't think that Luffy is going to fight Lucci again, like seriously. Well, we've never had a villain return for later in the story. For one, it just makes for a very boring fight unless they had some sort of huge power-up which changes their powers completely. But Lucci has already eaten his devil fruit. We've seen what it is capable of. There's not a lot of interest or excitement for that event occurring aside from, you know, oh wow, like that was one of the best arcs in One Piece. So I don't really see Luffy fighting him, and I don't really see him being admiral level. Helmeppo or Kobe? I'm not sure what the question is, but Kobe? Do you think Germa 66 destroyed Brook's old crew? Well, we don't know that Brook had a crew before Yorkie. And the timing doesn't really make sense because we pretty much saw how Yorkie was defeated, or the crew was defeated. For the most part, you know, Yorkie died even before the crew got defeated because of his sickness, or it's not 100% confirmed that he died. There's a lot of theories on the topic, but it seems as though he died. So I personally believe that we have 38 years before Brook was revealed to have met Yorkie and their pirates. That all we know about that time is he was part of a convoy. Basically like a war convoy or something like that. So I think it's during that time that will come into play his relationship with the Germa 66. So I'm again I don't think that would be his crew necessarily, but it's more of like we have this whole thing about Sora in the past. This character Sora, we don't know if that's his real name, defeated Germa 66. So I think Brook might have been part of that. He's definitely old enough. Dofi versus Cracker. I have made a video on that topic. In which I basically say that I think that Cracker is stronger, but Dofi would win. Do you think hockey is some kind of frequency of the soul to interact with physical worlds? Like, oh man, that's so deep right now. It would require me a lot of time to think about that and see if that makes sense. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to skip that one. Skypea related to the family of D. Any thoughts along those lines? So the family D is not an actual legit family. It's not a direct lineage. So it's not like father, son, etc., or like all people of the ancient kingdom are all humans. Because we have a Jaguar D Sol, who is a giant, who is also a D. And so with that being said, I think that the D was initially given to allies of the ancient kingdom as well as people of the ancient kingdom, which would explain why you have giants. So we also have this connection between non-humans and then the ancient kingdom, because we have like, for instance, Poseidon, who is a mermaid princess, was the ancient weapon of the ancient kingdom known as Poseidon, or the mermaid princess. I think I just repeated myself, but regardless. So we definitely have reason to believe that the ancient kingdom was friends with these non-humans. So the Skypeans are also non-human. They're from space. They have wings. They're different. Same thing with the people of Jaya as well, the Shandorians. And so I think it's definitely possible that they were also allies with the ancient kingdom. Although maybe it's possible that Skypea, they arrived afterwards, after the Void Century, or they didn't know that they existed in the sky at that point in time, or were never part of that. But I do believe anyone who is allies with the ancient kingdom would have been a D. And we also know that the D initial is oftentimes hidden. So just because a character doesn't reveal that they have the initial D does not mean that they aren't Ds. Sabo is Yonko level. Definitely. Is Sanji's death being foreshadowed, similar to... Okay, I'm going to say this. Now, respect to anyone who thinks that one of the Straw Hats will die. I don't mean any obvious disrespect, but I 100% disagree with any theory that implies that any of the Straw Hats will die, with the exception of Luffy at the very end of the story. And let's check another one. All right, so we got another PayPal donation. This one from Patrick Sadoff. It was for $5. Thank you very much, Patrick. He asked, question theory. Sanji will get married, but he must discard something if he wanted to leave, right? But what if Sanji would make Big Mom an over to cook for her? Hold on, I should probably just read this to myself. Sanji's going to get married, so he must get rid of something. Sanji would cook for Big Mom, and if she likes, he's free to go. But Sanji won that competition for a Carmen. I think you might be talking about a filler here. Back up, Carmen. I'm not 100% on what you're saying here, but basically, I think the idea that he's trying to get to is that Sanji has to basically win Big Mom over by cooking for her. And I do think it's interesting in this last chapter, it's pretty much foreshadowed in a sense, or it was an interesting detail that Big Mom seemed to be happy that Sanji was a cook, which also makes sense with Big Mom's character as well, which is that, she's all about that food, like for real. And so, Sanji potentially being able to cook for her could potentially make her willing to let him go, in a sense. Basically, you're the best cook in the world, so because of that, like, you really amaze me, like, I won't kill you today, or something like that. Certainly possible, but without understanding the second half of your comment, which I don't really understand, and I can't really say if your additional evidence to support this is something that really convinces me. Going back to Twitter. Will Sanji and Zoro have sustainable modes? What do you mean by sustainable modes? I mean, I currently think that both Sanji and Zoro are already really sustainable, whereas Luffy is not sustainable. I mean, if you're talking about like Asura and Diable Jambe, Sanji seemingly can do that for a very long time. Zoro hasn't used Asura very often, but when he did, it seemed as though he could do it for quite a while. Although we can't be certain since he only used it at one point in time. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean by sustainable or not. Yo, Joy Boy, crocodile is a girl theory. Ebon Cobb changed his hormones. This is one that I actually did. I talked about. Now, obviously, this is a extremely old theory. I think the first time I heard it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's an old theory, but it's one that I believe. Now, is it guaranteed to be true? Probably not. But there's this game with 7 warriors or whatever. I think it was called Romancing Saga 2 or something like that, maybe 3. And the characters, the playable characters for this game, there's 7 of them. 5 of them really strongly correlate with the Shishibukai in ways that make you think that this is. And the game also came out in 1992 before One Piece. It would be a game that would make sense for Oda to have played. So it would make sense for Oda to have based the 7 original Shishibukai on these 7 characters. But 2 are different. One of which is Kuma, who is like, something else like a large reptile or something like that. Like you're like, okay, this isn't exactly right. And the other one is Crocodile, the one that Crocodile should be paired up with, who was described in many ways as being similar to Crocodile. However, the difference is that this person from the game was a male who looked like a female. And so from that, people speculated that Crocodile may in fact have been previously a woman. And then later on, after this theory came out, we had the whole situation with Ivankov, where she was like, I know your little secret. And at that point in time, it became really, really easy to believe that Crocodile was previously a woman. But this obviously depends on what you want to believe at the end of the day, because a lot of people have strong opinions about that theory. Can Kuena be the Shogun? I do not see any Kuena could be Shogun. Kami means turtle. Thanks for the clarification. And we got more tweets. Oh, we got a theory. I'm probably not going to read a straight up theory post on this thread. Sorry, Prasanth. But I will look at it in the next couple days. Do you think when Luffy awakens his Devil Fruit, he will start using a pipe again only for awakening? A pipe. Using a pipe. When has Luffy ever used a pipe? I'm not sure if I understand you, bro. Do you think Sanji will unlock Conqueror's Haki in this arc? And he thinks Zoro already did. I can see why people think that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. And given, again, the parallels between Roger's journey and Luffy's journey, Rayleigh has Conqueror's Haki, and so does Roger, assuming. So, with that being said, it would make sense for Zoro, being sort of the counterpart to Rayleigh, to also have Conqueror's Haki. Now, as far as Sanji is concerned, I would be really interested to meet Scooper Gaban and to see if he also has Conqueror's Haki, which would support the general idea that he will in the future get it. But we can't be certain at this point in time, but this would be a good arc for Sanji to do it. But I'm just not 100% sold on how useful Conqueror's Haki really is. Because in fights, like legitimate fights where your life is on the line, using Conqueror's Haki is not going to help you too much because it only knocks out fodders. So Conqueror's Haki would need some sort of power-up, I feel like, in order for that to make sense. We never know. The Conqueror's Haki is so not fleshed out that it could go in a lot of different directions. How strong do you think Ichiji is? Oda seemed to focus on him in certain chapters. Definitely. I think Ichiji is the strongest of all the Vinsmoke, even stronger than Judge. I think also that we should be very scared of him. And there's 2 thoughts. Either he is stronger than Sanji, and Sanji will need Luffy's help in defeating him. Or conversely, he is just as strong as Sanji. That battle will go down to the very end after Sanji has defeated all of his other brothers, potentially. And then I would assume Judge Vinsmoke would be afterwards. I don't know. There's lots of ways you can go about it. But regardless, we saw in the past when they were training the kids that Ichiji was always number 1. So guaranteed, in my opinion, Ichiji is the strongest of all the children. We'll just put it that way. Is Kuena still alive? I mean, I know she had a katana and fell down a lot of stairs, but she looks so much like Tashigi. No, I feel you, bro. But we have to keep in mind that the stairs are Yonkolo. Just kidding. It's hard to be 100% certain about that situation. Zoro specifically commented on how much Tashigi looks like Kuena, but he doesn't say this is Kuena. Tashigi also doesn't remember that the whole situation, like in the past, if she was Kuena, she doesn't remember Zoro. So all that leads me to believe that they're not the same people. That isn't to say that Kuena isn't still alive. her death certainly was probably the most ridiculous in the story of One Piece. It's just stupid. It was straight up, it's stupid. So maybe she's alive, maybe she's not. I can't be certain, but I do not think that she's Shigi. Previous Gomu Gomu no Mi user thoughts. Well, devil fruits come into existence, and then the person who eats them dies, and then they're recycled. So there's some possibility that every single fruit that we've ever seen in the story was owned by somebody in the past that was interesting in some way or relevant to the story. But I personally don't see any reason to really get behind the speculation that somebody in the past had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, like for instance Joy Boy or anybody like Roger. I don't think that they had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, but it's possible. I believe that. I can't argue it to the point to where I can convince you otherwise. So, will Jinbei save Luffy next chapter? I don't think. Oh, this is from Marco. Hey, yo, people, subscribe to Marco, One Piece theorist, if you haven't already. He is the best theorist in the One Piece community, no doubt. But anyway, he asked, will Jinbei save Luffy this next chapter? I don't know if Jinbei is strong enough, personally. Certainly, like Luffy right now has taken an absolute beating. He is at his limit. 11-hour fight. He probably has no hockey left. But it's debatable, but not very much left because of how much he used it. He needs to rest. And Sanji did not hold back any of his kicks. We have Nami, who may potentially control the weather homies. That's definitely a possibility. But is that really going to be enough to stop the strongest of Big Mom subordinates? Probably not. And if they're all like 500 million berry bounties type people, somewhere around that ballpark, I don't see Luffy being able to take them, obviously. And then even if Jinbei joined, Jinbei would just be equal to like one of them, but there is a ton of them. So I don't see it happening with just Jinbei saving them. I think that ultimately the Vivre card is going to save them. When they find out why Nami has the Vivre card, it may make them stop battling in order to figure out the situation better. Or maybe they'll get so scared with Nami taking control over the weather homies that they think that Big Mom has a change of plans, or something along those lines. Definitely possible. But if Jinbei does show up, he would have to show up with a lot of other characters that are just as strong as him, in my opinion. This arc, I feel, is the most complicated arc Oda has done. There's so many factors at play. Oh, I'm not Brent. That question wasn't intended for me. Yeah, definitely agree, though, that this is probably one of the best arcs in the history of One Piece, if it shapes up the way that I imagine it will. If it's just completely straightforward, Luffy, smacks the shit out of every single one of Big Mom's subordinates and events book everyone and wins, then in that sense, I don't think that it would be the best. But if there's a bunch of like subplots going on, lots of deception, trickery, that is probably going to make this 1 or 2 in my book as the best arcs. I personally like the Water 7 and his Lobby arc a lot. This would be in competition. All right, so I have talked for a long time. I'm going to address the rest of my PayPal questions, if there are any more. And then afterwards, I'd like to get some other people in this chat. So I'll send a link to, if anyone like Brago or Pirate King Buggy's still in there, anyone, then send me a message. So we got last question from Samuel Ivy, who donated $9.41. Thank you so much, Sam. He said, could you rank the top 7 supernovas? I appreciate your video's thoughts. I'm happy to donate to you. Thank you. Keep up the good work. All right, so top 7 supernova. Hold on, this is going to take a moment to think about all of them. So I definitely think number 1 is going to be Luffy. Perhaps maybe not at this exact moment, but definitely in the future. But we're just going to rank Luffy number 1 because that's what makes sense. I get the general impression that Kid is Luffy's rival among the supernova, which would make him number 2. And then again, the third most important supernova in the entire arc is Law, which would make Law number 3. But I'm not don't imply here that I think there's a huge difference in their powers if you have strong opinions about this. I think they're comparable at this point in time. So then we have 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm assuming, well, let's exclude Zoro and Killer because they're not captains, and I think it just makes it really confusing for them to be part of the supernova and not captains. It's just confusing. So let's throw them out there. I really like Basil, Hawkins, and X Drake's Devil Fruits. I think that they could be ridiculously strong. I would probably go with X-Drake more so than Basil Hawkins, just from a story perspective, given that I feel like he'll have a more important role in the story as a whole. So I put X-Drake probably at number 4. And who do we have left? We have Basil Hawkins, Jewelry Bonnie, Capone Beige. I feel like I'm missing somebody. That's 8. We have 11 Supernova. I'm definitely missing somebody. Well, rip to Apu. So I would probably put Basil Hawkins at number 5. Jewelry Bonnie, it's so hard to tell if she's strong or not. She doesn't seem overpowered to me. She seems more cunning and connections kind of person. So probably wouldn't put her on my top 7 strongest. I'd probably put Apu at number 6, and then Capone at number 7. But obviously, the list is subject to change, so don't hate me. Don't hate me if I didn't include your favorite Supernova. All right. So let me send some messages and get some other people in here because I'm tired of talking. Just kidding. Let's see. Copy. Yo, Brago, I sent you a link if you want in. We're just doing this on the fly because I wing pretty much everything. The little intermission. We need some animation in the video. Oh, and I sent it via Twitter, FYI. I sent you a link, Buggy. Anyone else? Marco, do you want in on this? I'm going to go ahead and send you a link anyway, regardless of whether you want to. Marco. Oh, the awkward silence. And if this doesn't work, I'll probably just end the stream at this point in time. So I send some links around. If anyone who is, I normally talk to on a regular basis, other One Piece Theories channels or whatever, go ahead and send me a message, and I'll send you the link on Twitter specifically. Jewelry Bonnie is weak. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be sure at this point in time, but she doesn't give off the impression that she's very strong. Jinbei is ace level, so I don't see Sanji being stronger than him. Jinbei was ace level before Ace joined Whitebeard's crew. So I think that's an important distinguishing thing to say, which is that Ace may have gotten stronger than Jinbei over the course of his time with the Whitebeard Pirates, and then, of course, 2 years as well afterwards in which Sanji was continuing to train. Luffy gear 4th better than Dofi, obviously. Sorry, you didn't answer my question. The stream was paused for me. Do you think Luffy is stronger than Dofi? I mean, Luffy beat Dofi, so I would imagine so. But then he was saved. But Gear 4th is ridiculously stronger than Dofi, and if he just improves the duration of Gear 4th just by a little bit, I think that there's no question. But certainly at the point in time in which Luffy fought Dofi specifically, they were pretty even. But if you were just comparing Gear 4th to Dofi, Gear 4th is way stronger than Doflamingo, in my opinion. But it's just a matter of, can Luffy get the job done in time to actually beat him before Gear 4th runs out. Thoughts on Moria? Potentially the most annoying laugh in the history of One Piece. Yo, Rizo, do you want a link? Oh, I got somebody in here. Who we got? We got Brago. Tell me if you guys can hear anybody else whenever they start talking. Yo, Rizo, do you have a Twitter yet that I can send you a message to? Are you Joy Boy? Yes. Thoughts on Caesar? Caesar is a dick, but he is going to be redeemed at some point in the story, and potentially enough to make him a Straw Hat. Or if not, then he may become a join somebody else's crew or group.
Can you hear me?
Yo, who's this?
Buggy, it's Parking Buggy. What's up?
Nice. All right, everyone in the chat, can you hear Buggy or not?
Well, let's hope they do. So,
Yeah, they can.
what's
Who
the
is
topic?
Brago? Yeah, hold on. Let's get some other people in here first, because I don't think Brago wants to join. Brago hates me. Crying face. Condoriano versus Kaido. Who wins? Okay, Condoriano. That has something to do with Usopp, but I've completely blanked on what exactly that is. And then, like, somebody he made up.
Well, I mean, technically, Cadriano is filler, correct?
Oh, was he? That would make
Yeah.
sense why I don't remember it. Condoriano greater than Kaido. We can't hear him. Everyone else can hear him. Patrice.
Nah, he's trolling. He's trolling. Because the Google says that you could hear me.
I got you. Thoughts on Blackbeard's crew? I think that pretty much they will all match up with Luffy's crew coming into when we get to the end of the story. So basically, there's currently, I think there's 10 members of Blackbeard's crew, including Blackbeard himself, something like that. I'd have to look into this, but regardless, I think that each one of the Straw Hats will get a one-on-one fight versus Blackbeard's crew, and it's going to be extremely intense.
That pretty much makes sense. No, I don't like to theorize on the Blackbeard crew just yet. Like, even though there's so much things that you can talk about, but you know, we have really little information on them. Like, the only thing you can say, or like say who's gonna fight who, is like Zoro with Shuri of the Rain, because they're both swordmen, and it's pretty obvious. But
Right.
for the rest of the crew, it's like pretty hard to speculate who's gonna fight who.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the Shuri makes sense because of the sword fighting thing, but when we're looking so far into the future of One Piece, the accuracy for whatever that we're speculating is just decreased exponentially. It makes it pretty much to the point to where oftentimes when we speculate things, it's
You're just
nothing more than
throwing darts and you don't know where you're throwing them, man.
Right, exactly. And then Augur versus Usopp, definitely got the sniper crew. Stop hating, bitch. Zoro gonna fight Blackbeard because he's the bestest one. Yeah.
Because he's the bestest One Piece person in the world.
Oh man, I hope that dude was trolling. Will Kid and Luffy fight? I hope so. I mean, I feel like it's been foreshadowed, but at this point in time, Kid's taking a lot of L's.
Yeah, he is taking a lot of L's. Like, he lost to Big Mom. Even Aruj has a better reputation as a supernova than him at this point.
Right.
So when you say Kid versus Luffy, I'm like, why not Luffy versus Aruj? Aruj looks a better opponent at this point. And I'm just being honest. I'm not being as a meme. It's not a troll. But I honestly think, from what the story has been telling us so far, that Aruj is a stronger character. I don't know, man.
Well, we have Captain Kid in Big Mom's territory. Kid wins blank. Aruj steps in there, takes out a Sweet Commander. So I mean, the facts speak for themselves.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Big Mom only sends out her entire family or entire crew once one of their family members is basically taken down. So you gotta think of it this way: Kid, he didn't take anyone down, so Big Mom did not send any fleet after him.
Right.
Oh man, he's taking so much
So
L's.
I mean, I would assume that she basically sent like somebody like Brule level, or maybe just one sweet commander, and then Kid was escorted, as it says in the manga's quote, escorted out of Big Mom's territory. Zoro is way stronger than Jinbei because underwater he cut the fishman Odi easy, so on the ground it will beat Jinbei. Well, I mean, I think I don't think I've said that Jinbei is stronger than Zoro, so maybe you're replying to somebody in the comment section. But definitely, Zoro is implied to be stronger than Jinbei at this point in time. It wouldn't make sense for Jinbei to be the second strongest or just as strong as Luffy at this point in time. Why would Luffy need Kid if he was Usopp? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
No, it's probably a troll question. Just skip it.
Kid was a beast and survived Kaido. I mean, true, but perhaps Kaido just decided that it wasn't worth killing Kid and just put him behind bars. We can't know for certain until the details are revealed.
The details are in the devil's in the details, dude.
Right on.
Like, I can't really just say that, oh, Kid took an L from Big Mom and he took an L from Kaido, therefore Kaido's weaker than Big Mom. Like, you can't really speculate on that. Kid took an L at both of them. Like, he's not really Yonko level. Like, he's nowhere near Yonko level, even with his alliance.
Right. But I mean, I think that further supports the idea that like Luffy isn't Yonko level right now. Personally, like I don't know. I don't see Luffy ending this arc having taken out Big Mom, just the same as it's pretty much revealed that Kid going up against Kaido was no match. But depends on whether Luffy will try or not. But I just don't see it happening. The Yonko are just on a whole nother tier. Luffy's gonna need Gear 5th or Awaken Gear 5th or Gear 6 or combination of all of his gears into one gear in order to take out a Yonko, in my opinion.
So what I was saying at the beginning of the arc, that Whole Cake Island is made out of sugar, and therefore he can just stay in Gear 4th as long as possible, and you can keep fighting, and he will just eat his surroundings to keep moving, right? At the moment,
Right.
Luffy limited himself. Therefore, I don't know. Can he even fight Big Mom at this point? Let's say he does defeat Big Mom right now with his with the easy passage that Oda is giving him. Okay, can he even fight Kaido on down the line? Can he fight Kaido? So, like, all these questions, like, is Luffy even ready? That's the biggest question, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it seems like such a cop out to me. You have the Yonko, like literally the top tiers of the entire world. Like you have the three major powers, one of them being the pirates, and the pirates, the strongest of them are the Yonko. And for Luffy to already have the capability of taking out a Yonko, just based on what it was explicitly revealed that he learned during the 2-year time skip, just doesn't feel like enough to me. He would need more than that.
Like, I don't know about Big Mom or Kaido, but some of the Yonkos been like ever since the Roger era. So it's not really like 2 years is not pretty much not enough.
Right. Well, I mean, like usually when Luffy gets a power up, he like goes through a really tough battle in which he learns something. That's pretty much how it works. So I think that in order for Luffy to actually like take on and beat a Yonko, he would need first that extremely tough battle that he survives somehow and then learns from. Could be something like this, what's going on right now with between him and pretty much all Big Mom's forces. But I don't really see it happening because it doesn't usually work like that. It's usually like hey, I'm gonna fight this person or whatever. I'm gonna learn something, and then I'm gonna rest, and then I'm gonna take them on again afterwards. And in this situation, I don't see any situation in which Luffy is gonna take on all of Big Mom's subordinates, learn how to beat Big Mom or learn a new gear technique, and then immediately go use that technique to fight Big Mom. But then something like that could be useful versus Kaido.
So do you think Luffy has a chance against this Big Mom forces? Or do you think he will be captured? Do you think he will be killed? Do you think he will end up victorious?
Real talk, real talk. Luffy
I don't think he's not going to be victorious.
No. Real talk. Luffy will die as of chapter 8. No. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be certain. I think it's too much. Unless he gets
there's only two outcomes then. He's either going to be captured or he's going to be victorious. Now, which one has the higher chance of these two?
I think they're going to be victorious in a sense. Not that they're just going to beat all of their faces in, but that they'll win by default. Like, for instance, like, I mean, I keep talking about this, but we've gone through the entire Whole Cake Island arc, and not once has Nami specifically revealed to any of Big Mom's subordinates how she got the Viva card she possesses. This knowledge may be really important to help getting them out of this situation. Like, it's one thing, like, you know, where did you get that Viva card? Like you're not supposed to have that. And then another to say, well, yeah, this was given to me by Lola. We saved her back in the day. Like, she was really, like, she's my sworn sister or whatever. That once that information actually is specifically told to the Big Mom subordinates, I think something is going to happen. Something very interesting. But that hasn't happened yet, but it's definitely going to happen at some point in the future. And so with that being said, then they don't actually have to beat them to beat them. They just have to reveal to them that, you know, like, hey, like, we helped out one of your family members, like, you owe us one. Then, okay, then we won't kill you or whatever.
That does make sense, yeah. Because the only reason they're after Luffy is because he took one of them down. So by helping them in the past, I think it's kind of like, okay, this is like 1 for 1. I don't know. Do you think she will forgive him for, like, beating down Cracker if they told him, "Oh, we saved one of your family members in the past"?
Well, see, I don't think that she's mad at him for beating Cracker in the first place. Like, we get this whole impression from the Whole Cake Island arc, like, this is the place where pirate dreams come to an end. You have all these dreams and aspirations, become the Pirate King, become whatever the fuck you want to be, and you enter Big Mom's territory, and your dream gets crushed. And then we also have specific evidence that, like, a lot of people have tried to take on Big Mom in her territory for whatever reason. They ended up on her territory, they were invited there, whatever may have happened. And then all of them, all the Supernova as well, have been defeated, as well as people in the past like Pedro and Pickums. And so this all seems to be like we have Big Mom, who likes Luffy. Like at the beginning of the Whole Cake Island arc, she was legitimately excited that Luffy had arrived, as though this was something that she was anticipating, which ties very nicely back into the original arc that we met Big Mom, which was like, where she was like, oh, you know, like, your defiance intrigues me. Come find me in the New World. And so, you know, this seemingly Big Mom wants a meeting with Luffy. She also is like setting up, like, this entire thing is a setup by Big Mom. Big Mom knew immediately when the Straw Hats arrived on her territory that they were there. Like, 100% she knew that. And then allowed them to go straight to Whole Cake Island. Specifically set up Big Mom's subordinates in the forest on the southwestern coast in order to intercept them. Initially sent Brule, but then decided afterwards that, you know, maybe Brule isn't enough, I'm going to go send Cracker as well. But then later on, we see her talking to her hat, in which she seems kind of disappointed that Luffy hasn't already defeated Cracker. She says something along the lines of, I don't actually remember the exact quote, but it was chapter 835, I believe, where she was like, you know, he should be here by now. You know, is all that big talk and bravado just for show? And so, like, in order for you to say something like that, it sort of implies, like, I thought that he could back up his words. You know, he was all talk. Like, you know, clearly this isn't matching up with him if he's not here yet, if he hasn't beaten Cracker, which suggests that Big Mom thought it was possible for Luffy to defeat Cracker in the first place. So why would you be upset about a victory that you foresaw happening? That's the way I think about it anyway.
Well, I mean, even from the latest chapter, we see how she treats her sons very nicely. Like, if we, like, even look at the Big Mom children, they are all being treated nicely. Then Pudding said, "This is not of Big Mom's nature. What's going on? There's something wrong, correct?" So even Pudding was shocked. So do you think that she's secretly, or there is a chance that she could be evil, but Oda hasn't shown us that side yet? Or there is a chance that she could be really nice, as you say, and basically all the videos you made in the past is a true theory.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason that I made a lot of those theories is not necessarily, you know, it is what I believe, but or not very many people were considering even the possibility. But at this point in time, with the evidence provided in the story, like, this should scream to you as like, whoa, this might actually be legitimately true, like 100%. Now, I believe it, but I don't think everyone should just, you know, think exactly like I think. But I definitely think that you should keep it in mind as a possibility.
So what do you think of the latest panel you've seen? The one where she was talking with her children and stuff. Like, I watched your review on it.
Yeah, I'm getting so Yeah, I'm getting so tired of, I repeat the same evidences in a lot of videos that I make just because, like
Mhm.
I feel like in order to really get into the really big theories that you got to combine theories with theories. Like I believe this is true and this allows us to look deeper into something else that is potentially like
Yeah,
really huge.
this isn't forums. This is YouTube. You can't really just link your older theories here.
Right, right. So which requires me to repeat evidence, exclude specific evidence for the purposes of the length of the video, make different videos, basically directing them to, it's really fucking complicated. So anyway, I've said all this stuff so many times, and I got to this last chapter where Big Mom again does something that a lot of people are going to believe makes her inherently evil. Like she's like, oh, we all think about killing someone like 100 times, 100, 200 times every single day. Which a lot of people are going to be like, okay, again, further proof Big Mom is evil. But I've been dealing with this since I originally came out with the theory, which is that there has been instances where Big Mom has gotten progressively more scary, more evil. There's things that you can get behind to believe further that she's going to be the bad guy, which is what we should be expecting as well, because Oda, if it's true that Big Mom is an ally, should be trying to create a plot twist, right? That is like, he would be a bad writer if he didn't try to exploit this particular situation into a story of like, wow, that, we thought that he was evil, but everything that evil that she's done is explainable. And on the flip side, she's actually, going to help the Straits in some way. So anyway, with this 100 to 200 people that we think about killing 100 to 200 people every day, this is my thoughts that I didn't include in the video, which is that, first of all, she's talking about thoughts. She's not actually talking about killing people, which is an interesting choice. She also says this in regards to her child who's like, I really want to kill my sister, is like, pretty much, don't kill your sister, control your urges, is essentially what that line means. Like, we all have these thoughts of doing this, but that doesn't mean you can do it. Don't do it, which is, still fucked up, no doubt about it. Like, you're getting into that territory where like, okay, like that's, we're this is like the Addams family almost. But yeah, I can see that. And then again, the girl talks about like she likes stabbing things, but she likes stabbing balloons, not like people. She's not like, oh yeah, like I love stabbing at people every single day. It's like she's talking
I
about,
mean,
oh, she
she's a
always stabs
pirate,
my
correct?
balloons. What?
She is a pirate, correct? So, like,
Right. Right, and pirates aren't inherently good people. There's people on the Straw Hat crew, people, other pirates, etc., that all do shit that in the real world would make you an evil person. But in One Piece logic, Luffy will make friends with you.
but then again, she does kill people. Like, she takes their souls and stuff.
Right,
So,
but it depends on who. So that's a key
yeah,
difference.
correct. It depends on who.
Like, for instance, Boa Hancock would never kill Luffy because she loves Luffy, but at the same time, she's willing to kill anyone who it is she views as being inferior to her because she's the most beautiful person in the world.
Yeah,
Big,
that is correct. That is correct. So the question here is, or the question should be, is not if Big Mom is evil, but will she be an ally to Luffy? And at this point, I'm like, yes, she will be an ally to Luffy. There's no other way I can see it. Even if they fight, which I think they might fight, but I don't think she will like end up being an evil person or to Luffy in the end. If that makes
I mean,
sense.
I get a Whitebeard impression, honestly. From if my thoughts on the whole Cake Island are true, then I see Big Mom having a similar story purpose as to Whitebeard, which is that Whitebeard was the father of the New World in a sense, Pop, and then Big Mom would be the mom of the New World, and together they prevented anyone from taking Roger's throne. That's the way that I look at it. If Big Mom is truly going to be a future ally and is not specifically is not going to be an enemy for Luffy. That's the role that I see her playing. And just like Whitebeard, I see her sort of believing more and more in Luffy as she, gets to know him better, but eventually dying to usher in further the new era and to basically make it a free for all. Like there's literally no one standing in the way outside of Shanks at this point from somebody becoming the Pirate King. And so now the shit's gonna hit the fan. Like Yonkos don't fight very often. The strongest pirates don't often do that, and I think the main reason is because the original Yonko, Big Mom and Whitebeard weren't all about that business. And then Shanks came on later, and I don't think that he was part of that either. So it took a while before the Yonko really became. There was a Yonko with a dream big enough to want to take on the other Yonko, and I think the first one was either Shanks or Kaido, but probably Kaido, and then Blackbeard later. And so with Big Mom and Whitebeard both defeated, now there's no one stopping chaos in the new world.
That is pretty correct.
How do you think that King's Hockey is going to be at the top level, like Shanks or Garp fighting with full power? I don't know. King's Hockey so far is just you kill fodders or you knock out fodders. That's all we know right now. Anything other than that is
like the thing with King's Hockey is I don't know if it links to the other hockey. I hope there is a connection to the other hockey where it just like having it improves your usage of the other hockey abilities. But so far, like I don't see it, to be honest. Like the only thing it does is knocks out weak people, and that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not to say it doesn't have anything else. But it's hard to be like it's hard for me to make a theory about the topic just based on my own imagination, because the theories that just rely purely on your imagination are 100% wrong all the time.
Yeah, pretty much all the time. I mean, after all, hockey is something that Oda came up with after the, while it was in the, I don't know what's it called, Amazon Lily arc. That's when hockey was first created, or that's how I believe it was when it was, the concept of it was first created. So I don't think it has like anything to do with the Congress hockey. I don't think Congress hockey has anything other to do at the moment, unless Oda comes up with another thing in the future to improve it.
Right.
But as in the day, it didn't exist in the beginning of the series. It existed. It started to exist in the middle of the series. So anything like from now on, like we can't speculate on it. It's pure imagination at this point.
Right, exactly. And so, like, with that being said, it's still fun, it's still interesting, but for me, I'm more of into things that I can like actually like believe in, rather than just thoughts that are in the realm of possibility, which is a lot of them are. By the way, Buggy, so are you starting a new One Piece channel, or?
I already did, and I had a theory came true.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Wait, so what's the name of your channel? Is it Pirate King Buggy again?
I'm in the chat, dude. Well, I mean, it's not a theory came true, but I don't know if I consider it a theory came true. But I talk about something, it happened the exact way I imagined it.
Okay, guys, I didn't predict the future, although before it happened, I kind of knew that it would happen, and then it did happen.
Well, I mean, I don't know what people these days consider a theory. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go like so much into speculation, that maybe that can call it theory. But if you just call something based on very little evidence, but he did call it, I don't know if you can call it that a theory.
I mean, it depends. It depends on what the evidence is, but I see what you're saying. A lot of people don't think that what I do is actually like a theory making, just because like the OGs of the theory community all inspired their theories based on like influences in One Piece, etc. Like, oh, we're relating One Piece to history, etc. I don't do any of that, so some people don't think that I'm actually a theory channel. I'm a speculation channel.
Well, in that case, I got a speculation came true.
That's funny. All right, so guys, thank you so much, Power King, for coming out. I was hoping that we'd get more people into the stream, but apparently we scared everyone off. But I want to thank you so much for talking with me at the end of the stream. I streamed for 2 hours. It's ridiculously long.
You need to go to sleep, dude. You got work tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't go to sleep now. I gotta make a video. I'm on that grind all the time. But yeah. But yeah, thanks, Parking Buggy, for coming out. Thank you, everyone in the comment section, for making this fun, making questions so I didn't sound painfully awkward the entire time waiting for someone to actually ask a question. Chat was going insane. So I appreciate every one of you. And 20,000 subscribers is just ridiculous. So I'm gonna log out and have a good night.